Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. I'm your host, Niko, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How's it going?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. And I just quickly wanted to plug another show that is making its return here this week to the Late Night Chat Network. We do other shows, a lot of like movie and TV related type stuff as well. I mean, this is your first stop for pop culture talk, as our slogan there goes for the YouTube channel. We don't just do comics, and that's Watching the Throne. The Game of Thrones spinoff show, Chris, just came out this week. At the time of this recording, just the other day, the first episode dropped, and that's A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is one of the spinoff series that takes place before Game of Thrones and after House of the Dragon. It's a story that kind of takes place in between of like a new bunch of characters, I guess. So they're branching out now with the spinoffs, even past House of the Dragon there. So I know you were a big fan of Game of Thrones back in the day. Did you end up ever getting into House of the Dragon or no?
I watched a bit of the first few episodes of House of the Dragon, and I just fell off. And
fair enough.
Nothing really kind of pulled me back in. Maybe I'll see what this new one's about.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. So we'll be talking about that weekly with live episodes here on the YouTube channel. By the time you guys see this, we'll have just come out with an episode, or this might drop and then it'll come out. We're actually supposed to be recording that later tonight. So usually a day or two after the episode airs on the Sunday. So usually like Tuesday, anytime between Monday and Wednesday, you can get a live episode of Watching the Throne. And that's with me, JT, and Christina, who was our third host for that show. She kind of became the permanent third host through House of the Dragon when we started to cover those episodes for season 2. So make sure to go check that out. That's a lot of fun. We basically just like go through the episodes scene by scene, and we kind of talk about it, give you our thoughts on the episode and our theories and all this kind of stuff. So that's a lot of fun. That'll be a weekly live show for the next, I think it's 6 episodes this season. It's a small season. And then we'll be back again this summer for House of the Dragon. I think it's season 3 now. It's taken forever for these seasons to come out. Every 2 years, these seasons are really stretching it out. So yeah, make sure to check that out, guys. If you guys are Game of Thrones fans, for that new show, Watching the Throne. Well, it's not new. We've done all the Game of Thrones episodes, Chris. We've done all the House of the Dragons. We're basically covering these in real time as new episodes come out. So that's a lot of fun. Make sure to check that out, guys. But today we're here to talk about comics. This is Comic Shop Talk episode 213. And today we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of January 14th, 2026. And as always, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that like button. You can hit us up in the comments. Thank you for anybody who's checked out the videos or commented on stuff recently. Make sure to check out our playlist, all kinds of great comic book content, as well as other things on the channel, as I mentioned at the top of the show. Spoiler warning, be forewarned, as always, we are going to be talking about what happens in the books here today. We are going to be showing off some of the artwork. So if you're worried about getting spoiled, you can always read your books and then come back. All right, Chris.
All right, let's talk comics.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. First up on the docket, we got DCKO number 3. Once again, got the Daniel Warren Johnson variant. Yeah.
Me too.
I can't wait. I think it's either the next issue. I think it's the next issue. The Batman Luchador one with him holding the chair, I think has an early, honestly, it could be the cover of the year already. And it just started. I mean, it's definitely my favorite cover so far when it comes out, but I cannot wait for that one to come out. I'm really excited for that. For anybody that hasn't seen that, I think it's either 4 or 5, the issue, I think. Check it out. Daniel Warren Johnson's variants on these DCKOs. They've been a lot of fun, but what'd you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, I've been enjoying this the DCKO. And, they keep on changing it up every issue, and I don't mind these changes. This was a bit of a tag team battle. We had the 4 people or the 4 fighters left, and they were able to choose a partner to kind of battle each other. They all got separated into different arenas. Well, were there 8? No. Yeah, there are 8 people left, I think. And here they got to choose their partners. So it was interesting to see who people chose and or who the villains chose, and kind of how they use the people to choose from. And then, of course, the Joker, I guess he seems to be somehow winning this this tournament by amassing the most Omega energy, and he was able to kind of choose anybody out of the multiverse. And they kind of threw you a curve as to who he chose or who he chose. But then when it was kind of revealed who the true pick was, it's still a pick worth picking, I'd have to say. But I don't know if you want to go over all the picks of who chose what. I did enjoy Superman and Shazam. I always thought, just those are two powerhouses to begin with. And then I guess Shazam shared his power with Superman. I forget who they were fighting, but it was, it's always a good scene whenever Superman kind of almost gets some sort of amalgam or fusion with somebody. What'd you think of that one?
I thought that was really cool. It was a scene right out of Dragon Ball. There is literally a scene in this where they're wearing an earring, like the fusion. Did you notice that? Was it with him or was it with I can't remember which it was. I think it was with them, right? I think it was with Superman and Shazam, right? Because he becomes he gets the power of Shazam. And in that panel, in that page, if you look very closely, he is wearing a ring. There's no reason for an earring. Yeah. There's no reason for him to be wearing that earring other than the fact that that's a straight up Dragon Ball reference. We are in Dragon Ball territory. I don't know if it's the artist who told him to do that, if that was, Snyder
Maybe there. Put it in there for a little nod to, anime origins.
Absolutely loved it though, because there was no reason for it. There was no reference to it. I've never seen that before. I didn't know that Shazam could do that for other people other than his family. I don't know if that's been pre-established. I don't even think there's an earring involved. So I'm pretty sure that was just a nod of this is straight up Vegito, Gogeta, fusion fucking dance type of earring thing going on here. Which I absolutely loved. I mean, I would give this a good rating based off of that scene.
They're fighting the Lanterns here, and I think he picked Hal Jordan as partner, and that was a reasonable pick, but they didn't seem to be able to kind of combine their powers, or they didn't have any sort of tricks up their sleeve, and I guess they got smoked by Shazam and Superman.
I also liked this scene where you thought that he brought the Man Who Laughs Joker to help for a moment, and then it turned out to be Mr. Mxyzptlk, which I thought was kind of cool as well, right? It was, and this is Emperor Joker, this version, which is from another run of Superman as well, where he showed up as a villain and he was this Emperor Joker character, which has to do with Mr. Mxyzptlk. So it actually, again, it all kind of tracks. They're really having fun with this event. You could just tell they're having fun with the event, and I actually think that's a great thing. And they're not taking itself too seriously. And it's still well written and it's well drawn. So no complaints from me on this one. I agree with you. It's been a lot of fun and it continues to be. And,
I think Luthor gets Supergirl and she's kind of like, what are you tricking me for? I'm not going to fight with you.
Yeah.
And then he kind of infects her with all those different types of kryptonite. She basically hulks out almost and just kind of goes in a rage. And I forget were they fighting? Was it Cyborg and Green Arrow or Connor Kent or Connor Hawk or
Green Arrow? Yeah, it's one of the Green Arrows. It's his son. Connor Hawk, I think it is. Yeah, so he basically he's fighting Green Arrow and her, and then it was Constantine and Zatanna was Constantine and Zatanna was facing Joker, right? And Mr. Mxyzptlk. And Cyborg and Green Arrow were fighting Wonder Woman, it looks like here, and Big Barda. So
and I like their team up too. They were kind of able to fuse their powers too, where Wonder Woman basically tells Big Barda to kind of crock her in the bracelets, and then that sort of amplifies the power and reflects it out and just kind of blew away what's his name? Cyborg and Connor.
Well, I gotta say, there was some feelings hurt here amongst some of their teammates, because a lot of them were thinking that they were bringing them back at a second shot because they believed in them. But really what was going on was everyone who was brought back, they had to kind of be strategic and use them straight up. For whatever reason, they were all just being used for power sources in order to advance them throughout the tournament to beat the other team, right? So, but I feel like you know, in that one, for instance, like you just said, like Barda was like, oh, so you just brought me back for my strength. And like, even with the Shazam thing, like, you know, that's basically like, he's like, oh, thanks for giving me another shot. You must think I'm worthy of it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I was like, for one reason, because I know you can share your power.
exactly. So, I mean, you know, but it's again, it's all for a common good, essentially, in order to win this thing here. And if they win, then they can get them all back. And I think at the end of the day, they need to understand that. But yeah, there's definitely some feelings being had by some of these some of their teammates here. Yeah, it was fun, man.
And we've got to talk about the ending of the comic too. With I guess the Heart of Apocalypse. I don't know if they dropped them off in the absolute world or what, but basically the 4 winners looks like there will be standing off against Absolute Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. Why they're evil there, I don't know, but I guess we'll find out in the next issue.
Yeah, I can't zoom in on this art that I have here, but this is the page. If you look, he is wearing rocking the earrings. I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, I'll jump here to the end, and yeah, there you go. There's some absolute people there, and I don't think that's their true form. I think those are like evil versions of them or something. I don't know what the hell is going on there. Maybe it's them, but you know, they look real pissed off. So, and there's Darkseid, who's in Booster Gold right now, I believe, still, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like he's been running around in Booster. Taking over Booster. So yeah, so it's Joker, Lex Luthor, Superman, and Wonder Woman at the end here. That's the only thing I'll say about this. I really appreciated that they included some swerves in the fight, which I feel like is very hard to do in this type of comic and this type of approach with the whole tournament-based type stuff they had going on. It is hard to surprise the reader, so I will, you know, my hat's off for him coming up with some creative kind of like swerves, unexpected stuff that happened. But I will say, like, the fact that these are the people that are last, I would have appreciated if they threw in some weird ones that we didn't expect to be here, right? Like, I kind of...
I don't know. It depends how they're, like, if they just threw it in for weirdness sake or part of the story, that'd be fine. But if they had, like, a Marvel girl in there that they're just trying to push through the roof, you know, for some reason, it'd be like, get her out of here. How's she making through? You know, how would she be making through all this? You know, like, it was just... You know, part of the story that sort of organically grew out of the story, fine. But like I say, if they sort of had some legacy or some new character that they're just trying to ram down our throats, I'm glad they didn't do anything like that.
I agree with you there. No, that's not what I've even been trying to say. I'm just saying it just seems so basic that it's 2 villains, 2 heroes. Of course, it's part of the Trinity. I mean, to be honest, the fact that Batman's not involved, I guess that's like the Joker kind of part of this in a way. Like, I just think Joker wouldn't have survived. Like, I know he's like cunning and stuff too, but like Luthor, okay, I can understand, but I'm not that kind of like, I don't know if Joker would make it to this point.
Yeah.
And I understand Superman being there, but again, I wouldn't have been opposed. That's what I mean. Like, who's to say like a big Barda didn't make it over Wonder Woman for the fact that she's from like Darkseid's world. That's all I'm saying. Like, there could have been.
It would have been funny if whoever they chose ends up winning, and they'd be going on in their place. That'd be a good swerve.
I mean, if one of the villains goes in their place, like, what the hell does that mean for like what's about to go down? Is Luthor gonna finally step up and like kind of like, you know, just as like a fuck you to Superman, like win this whole thing, right? So I don't know.
Well, that's another thing too. If we're gonna be talking about like the canon of what's going on in the comics, wasn't it just not too long ago that
he was a good
both Luthor and Superman were like best buddies?
Yes.
And you know, Luthor was trying to prove himself to be a good person to Superman, and now he's more back to his old self. And you know, that still hasn't been addressed in the regular issues, if he is sort of evil or not. But anyway,
he kind of like ran off, and then they just never really talked about it. And
let that one go. But otherwise, I enjoyed the story. It's just fun watching a battle. You know, they all go balls out.
What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 for sure. Good stuff. All right, next up we got some new number 1s this week. The return of Babs, the Black Road South #1, which was the first miniseries, was a favorite of me and Chris's. We really enjoyed the first one. Garth Ennis, Jason Burrows on art. What'd you think of the start of this new miniseries, Chris?
Yeah, I enjoyed the last series, and this one didn't start out too much with a bang, but you know, I'm already invested in these characters, so I'm happy to see them all sort of back out there. and just seeing what they're up to. You know, there are a couple of nods to the previous issue or the previous series that happened here. You know, Babs ends up in some gladiator arena and ends up winning a ton of gold, and then she's with her friends and they sort of have a night out on the town, and you know, by the time they wake up after everything, they've lost all their money, and they've bought some sort of like some adventure package or something, and now they're going to be trying to follow them back there. And I think they got to go down the South Road, the Black South Road or something, and Bob seems to be 100% against going down this road. So I imagine she's going to end up going down, and it's going to be a crazy road. But in just the crazy stuff that goes on in the comic, you can't you can't turn that down.
No, I mean, again, I love Jason Burrow's art on this. Like, he really does a good job, you know, drawing this comic. And one of the funniest parts of this is when they have their wild night out of like debauchery and getting hammered and everything else, and they're both in beds riding these ogres. Like, she's like having sex. They're both having sex with these ogres, and she's like, "Oh, I think something's wrong with mine because you."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like,
oh yeah, okay, here we go.
I was dying at that scene because, like, literally, like, they're having conversations, and like every now and then you hear like some weird like grunt from one of the ogres. I'm like, what's going on in this comic? Oh man, yeah, that was funny. And yeah, she gets hammered, and yeah, that adventurer thing I just think is a really fun idea of like they were paying for. Basically what it is you pay other people to take a journey, and if they find gold on their journey, they will give you part of the gold. And they threw away all their winnings from that tournament on this. And now, yeah, they don't believe that these people will survive the journey. So now they feel that they've invested in this thing, so they have to go and get their money back, essentially, right? So a lot of fun. I mean, like you said, it wasn't.
Still gotta like that talking sword too. I think he was part of that scene there too. He's like, oh, I don't want to see any of this.
I know he's like on the on the dresser or whatever in the hotel. He's just like, I don't want to see any of this. Yeah, his wise ass comments just make for a great like addition to the comic too. Yeah, no, it's good stuff. I like that. It's a lot of fun, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's still, you know, well written, well drawn, good stuff. Again, there's fun comics so far this week that we're talking about. Yeah, this is where the ogre. What'd you give this, Chris?
Yeah, this is another 4. Great comic.
Again, yeah, 4 out of 5. Good stuff. Can't wait for the rest of it. Next up, we got Dungeons of Doom #1.
Yeah, this is one of the first comics I read. You know, I wasn't so big on this Doom, whatever you call it, event, but it seems the follow-up of this Doom event seems to be more interesting than the actual Doom event. And I guess this one here, you have 3 teams that are basically trying to break into or have Doom's castle under siege, and they all seem to break in or fall in somehow. And it's just crazy stuff down in there. I forget the team of sort of Latverian freedom fighters.
Yes.
You have a team of
Red Hulk
American soldiers.
Yeah.
And then there's another team in there. I forget who they were.
Yeah, we'll jump ahead to that one in a moment. But yeah, there's a third team at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, they run into the big mess down there. That's in his dungeons, trying to find everything. So not much. I think this issue is just kind of more learning who's who and what this series might be about, and it's interesting. I'll give it that much.
Yeah, I think the idea of this and the fact that there's all these things waiting for them in the dungeons is a really fun one and a really cool and smart idea as well. Like, I think that the idea is better than the execution of the comic itself. It certainly wasn't bad, but I'm really kind of expecting a lot more with this next issue. And the fact that they kind of had to split it up between 3 different stories, you really didn't get too much out of each one as of yet, but that's my only complaint about it. I think as a concept for the story, it's actually a really good one, and I'm interested to see where it goes. And I think this is only like a 3-issue miniseries, so like the fact that these are oversized issues, kind of even this Red Hulk storyline, it's a natural progression of the Red Hulk series that I read. Like kind of how that story went, and you kind of seen him already been in that one shot that we had, the Will of Doom, as well, talking about like, so like of course the states as a government, their army is going to go in there and try to get stuff and like figure out what the hell's going on over there now they have access. It makes perfect sense. And of course, because he's the general there of the army, Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross, of course he's going to be leading that squad, right? So it actually makes a lot of sense. And like you said, some of these stories that have come afterwards, they're actually making a good excuse to tell these stories with Doom's absence being in the comics. That actually is cool. And you got all these Hydra agents down there, and
that was gonna Team Hydra.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, good stuff. I enjoyed it. I'll definitely read the next one. I thought this was it was decent. So I can't wait to see what else they uncover in this place, because so far they've all had ran into some trouble. It looks like in the
it seems like they've all hit the first boss, but you still don't even know what the prize is yet. So I thought it was okay. I'd give it a 3.75.
Same. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. 3.75 out of 5. Not bad. Okay, and then we got Knull number 1.
Well, I'm not sure why I read this one. I'm not a big fan of Knull, but I just kind of wanted to see sort of what the whole hoopla about Knull was. So it gives a bit of history about what kind of how Knull came to be. And, he was living in his void, and then the Celestials come in there and they sort of brought light, and then they woken him, and then that pissed him off, and he's all out and about. I think they kind of rehash a bit of the King in Black story. And it turns out that now Knull is a prisoner of Hela. And, you got some guard there that's kind of prodding him and poking him around. And then Hela comes in, and she basically wants to try and take Knull's powers somehow to rule, I don't know, Earth or something, or I guess Midgard, because she must be in Midgard, and Midgard is separated from Asgard or something. And Knull sort of escapes. Once the room is empty, it seems that Knull has power at that point. And I guess at the end of the issue, you see that this was sort of Hela's plan all along, is to sort of power up Knull and then steal that power. It's okay, but like I say, Knull isn't my favorite, and this didn't do anything to sway that opinion.
I checked it out too, just because you said you were going to do that. Knull, of course, created by Donny Cates, used in his run of Venom, and I thought was a great character during that. Well, it's weird because Jason Aaron kind of started the idea of this whole idea of the Necro Sword and all that kind of stuff that he has in his Thor run, actually, and then Donny Cates kind of pulled from that idea and then kind of expanded. I mean, again, this is why he was a great writer, and I hope we see something from him again. He was able to follow that up and actually like use like that as part of like his whole Venom story, and then he was working on Thor at the same time, so he really was able to do some interesting stuff with that, and created a great villain. But the problem with creating a great villain nowadays is that they're going to be overused as a result. And here, he's been off the shelf for not even that long. I think after Donny Cates used him, I think Al Ewing used him in this Venom War or whatever the hell it was, right? Like, I don't know if he used him in the Venom War, but he used him in something, I think, in his Venom run, right? If I'm not mistaken, Al Ewing.
Yeah, I don't think anything big though.
There was like the whole, so he's been around, and I think that people have been kind of using him here and there. But this was fine, but I probably won't read more. I just think that Al Ewing's using him. He I think co-wrote this one as well, but it just I don't know. It just doesn't seem like there's a story worth telling here outside of he's evil and he's back and he's escaped. That's pretty much like, and I got that from this issue. Now, if this ties into like Al Ewing's Venom run again or something, I guess we'll see. But other than that, I don't. There's no reason for me to have to continue to read this. It was fine, but yeah. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Wasn't bad. Okay, then we got Black Cat number 6. I got 2 covers for this one.
Ooh, nice.
I got the Adam Hughes one with her and Daredevil. Pretty cool one. And then I got the David Nakayama one, which is really nice.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah. All right. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. The story, what's this number, issue 6? I'm not sure how long this series is going. I hope it does last, but it sounds like the story, things that happen, I guess, in some of the early issues are coming in there. There's that, I don't know, that council or whatever of thieves or whoever, Black Cat kind of invaded or interrupted some guy, some counts. I don't know what he was doing, but anyways, his operation, and then he's suing them or he's suing her, wants reparations, and then this court kind of basically calls Black Cat, hey, you got to show up for this, and then you see her, she seems to be in a bit of a spicy situation, relieving some stress there with
Yeah.
I guess I know that's a random person or if that's a character we should know of. But anyways, they seem to be in a compromising position there when the court shows up and says, hey, you got to be in court and, right now, or we're going to take everything you got. Then she kind of barters with them and says, oh, I need to get my lawyer. And then she's out there. Of course, Daredevil's sort of been in and out of this series a few issues ago. So she tracks him down. Is she aware that Matt Murdock and Daredevil are the same person? Because it doesn't seem to be that.
No, I don't think she does. But like they play so close to that, like it's hard to determine whether or not she does here. Because
almost like, oh, how are we gonna figure this out? Oh, don't worry, I got a guy. I'll take you right there, and then okay, you meet him around the corner. Oh,
I
here I am. Oh, whoa, where did Daredevil go? Oh, he's not here.
That was one thing I thought was stupid though, too, as well.
We let that ride. Maybe she's just letting him play his games. And anyways, he shows up as the lawyer. They kind of make their way to this courtroom. Have a bit of courtroom drama. And it still doesn't work out for them. And what does she do? I think she uses some of her bad luck power to break down the place, and just chaos ensues, and they run out of there. So it's still a fun issue. This isn't any groundbreaking stuff, but I'm a fan of Black Cat, and I'm happy it's not bad, and I think it's good.
Yeah, I think I've said this earlier on with this series, like the first couple of issues in, and I still think it to be the case. This scratches that She-Hulk series itch for me, like that we had with that last Rainbow Rowell She-Hulk ongoing series. It's kind of a bit of slice of life, kind of like fun antics type of some light superheroing, some like character moments like that. This kind of definitely fits the same kind of like tone I think that book offered. And I think
with Black Cat, it's a better character to use. I think She-Hulk was just too powerful to have like a slice of life normal. This is what I go through. The only reason she's not using his powers is because she doesn't. She's choosing not to. Where if Black Cat could use her powers to get out of this, she would. But she's just kind of in a situation where her powers aren't really helping her, probably even making things worse, if anything.
Yeah. No, well said. I agree. Yeah. So that's kind of what makes this work. And I too am enjoying it. So it's good. This was actually one of my favorite issues so far. Actually, I don't know like how long this book is gonna last or how long it is for this world, but it already has gone past the initial 5-issue hump. Now at this point, whether or not it'll go past 10 issues is the new kind of Marvel test. There is whether or not we're gonna go to an ongoing past 10. Then again, if we get 10 issues of this, I'll be happy with it too. Like I've gotten some good covers out of the deal. This is definitely one of the better female-led books we've had in some time. Other than like Storm, let's say, which I thought was really good. But good stuff. I like this artist on this issue too. I think this is a new artist. I don't know if this artist has drawn this series before. But because it's Gleb Melkinov, the one you like, who's
that was I thought this was great too.
This is I don't know this artist. This is Andre Genole. I don't know. They're just busting out all the Italians, I think, on these series.
Well, I think this artist did a few of the She-Hulk comics as well.
Oh, okay. That would make sense. Yeah, this is I don't want all my superhero comics to be like this, but I definitely feel like there is a need. Like, I don't mind having
there's space for this comic.
Exactly. What'd you give this?
I'll give it 3.75.
Yep. 3.75 out of 5. All right, Chris, you got Uncanny X-Men 22 today. You're a glutton for punishment, Chris. You're going back to the well again, I see.
Well, I saw that this issue featured one of the characters they introduced a while ago, this Mutina character.
Yeah.
And when they did introduce her, the character looked pretty cool, and then the last issue, and I thought it was just a bust. It turned out to be some actor or something that was, I don't know, it was just a crazy story. But I guess they're revisiting her here. And I didn't mind this issue one bit. I think maybe
okay.
during that Revelation apocalypse baloney, these might have had a chance to reset a bit. And I didn't feel that there was so much of this Gail Simone trying to make everybody just talk with their accent and say baloney stuff. I think this issue starts out with Nightcrawler. He's out on a date with somebody, and then she's asking him, oh, the night's young. Well, what could we do? He's like, oh, well, we can go to my place. And she goes, oh, maybe we can do something fun. He goes, he basically asks you, do you want me to bamf you? And just the way they kind of, the connotations around that, and he's like, okay. Then he bamfs her like 4 times. And then it turns out, and then the last bamf, of course, was back to the Haven house.
Yeah.
And then, it turns out to be Nightcrawler's birthday. And then so everybody surprises him. And he's like, oh, I'm so surprised. And then, he's like, oh, were you in on this? And I don't know if she didn't confirm or deny. But then she's also talking to one of the other mutants there. And she's like, oh, I'm a little unsteady on my feet. And then she's like, oh, did Nightcrawler bamf you? And she's like, 4 times. Well, I thought that was kind of funny. But then anyways, while they're having this party here, Wolverine kind of senses something is amiss. He goes, oh, I'm going to go get some breath of fresh air outside. And when he does go outside, basically he confronts this Mutina character. And she's there basically to try and join the X-Men. But, and she tries to, say, oh, after my movie came out, some mutants got hurt and, I want to make things better for them. And he doesn't buy that baloney line. And it turns out since that mutant, her reputation has pretty much gotten slammed and she's not so popular anymore. And then her PR people thought that if she were to join the X-Men, that might boost her credibility in the eyes of Hollywood or wherever she is. So I think her and Wolverine kind of duke it out for a little bit, and she puts up a pretty decent fight. And I think he ends up taking her pretty much back to the party just to tell him what's going on. And then Kurt tries to save her soul or something. Then they have a little bit of a battle. And yeah, it wasn't so bad. I thought this was a better debut for this Mutina character. And I didn't enjoy her there. Like, I'm not sure what her powers are, but, she took Wolverine to a standstill. And, she keeps on saying that, she's been inside the house while they've been there. So maybe she's got something going on. I can recommend this comic, but I don't know if it's enough to recommend the series, because when I've looked at the solicitations further down the road, I don't see any of her in there. So maybe I'll just keep an eye out when she's there, and maybe I'll read those ones. Overall, I'd give this a 3.75. It's been one of the better Uncanny X-Men comics that I've read.
Well, I will say I am pro Nightcrawler, and it does seem like a good Nightcrawler issue. Any issue where he busts out his like pirate swords there, those cutlasses or whatever the hell they are. That's listen, I do love me some Nightcrawler, and those looks like, just going through the art, they look like some good moments. So I'm glad it was a better issue for you coming back, because I know how much you griped on that series.
Oh, yeah. Well, they didn't focus on any of the bad things. They had all those outliers in there, but they might have had one panel of them talking. And, and Wolverine was kind of talking how this Mutina character is so bad, but then she was going on, oh, I know all about your outliers, and all of them have, sort of dark pasts to them as well. And they said, why can't I? What the heck? Some of your outliers have killed more people than me, and you're looking at me like I'm a freaking bad person.
Right.
So, like, even just the dialogue kind of was interesting to begin with as well.
Well, let's see if they can keep it up, because between this and the X-Men coming back from Jed McKay, maybe that's what the whole point of this whole stupid side event there was to come back with a clean slate. Because
I think the whole point was, this is how bad it really could be. So just enjoy what we got here, okay?
All right, next up we got Doctor Strange #2. I picked it up here. I think this is the last issue I've ordered of this one. Listen, I think I'm jumping off this. This is the first Doctor Strange series in some time that I feel like I've said that about, and maybe I'll revisit it at some point. But this is like the same team, I think, that had that little mini series of him going to Asgard to begin with after he wasn't the Sorcerer Supreme after what was it, Blood Hunt or whatever. And then like, that was a nice little diversion in a way to kind of do something off to the side and do something different. But the fact that they've now brought this team into an ongoing series, and basically continuing that whole idea of him in Asgard. I know you weren't too, I wasn't too happy about it the first issue. I know you were kind of on the other end. You thought it was an all right first issue. I don't know. The fact that it just feels like more of the same now. It's just like he's again just in the middle of all these like beefs between like Asgardian people, like these dark elves and these Asgardians, and Angela's there now. So it's just like, it doesn't, again, I just feel like it feels very much not like a Doctor Strange book, to the point where he's not even like a good central character in his own title anymore. Like that.
Yeah, imagine if you're a fan of Doctor Strange, this isn't the Doctor Strange you want.
No, and like, I guess something interesting happens to start this one. He's like, it seems like he's tapped into like some dark magic or something in order to fight the dark elves here. But then once that resolves in the issue, it just like the rest of the issue is just like a lot of like bickering between these people that are at war that he seems to just be in the middle of. And it just, again, it felt like that other miniseries where he was like in the middle of like a mystery, like between like who murdered that person in Asgard, which again was fine for that miniseries. I liked that miniseries. This was basically, I think, the same team that did that, at least the writer was. I think this artist also drew some of that, or drew the short story that led into this series. I just like, yeah, I'm just not here for it for now. Like so I'm jumping off. It was okay, but I didn't also love it either. So I probably just give this a 3.25 out of 5. Like, and then also like the artist, he's definitely like, seems like he's got like a manga influence, like in his artwork, which I don't normally mind. Like there's lots of artists that I like that have that, but that doesn't, I don't know, his art doesn't look right for this book for whatever reason. I'm just not digging it. I'm not digging that. I'm not digging the new direction of the title. So yeah, I'm gonna, again, if this ends in an arc and then it kind of moves on from this, maybe I'll come, I'll revisit the title, because I like Doctor Strange as a character so much, but this isn't for me. So 3.
Yeah, but I feel in this issue, or in this series, he's not really even trying to get back to Earth, or at least trying to get back to Clea. Like they're supposed to, be this new hot couple. And he's like, oh well, I'm stuck here. Big deal. I'll just keep busy while I'm here. He's not like he's trying to search out any sort of path back home, or at least to his love. Being the Sorcerer Supreme, I'm sure he'd be able to kind of jump through some dimensions there if you had to.
Yeah. I just don't know what's going on here, like why this is happening. So
I don't buy that he's stuck there.
Yeah. So next up I got Minor Arcana #13. Yeah, another issue with Jeff Lemire's series. He's writing and drawing still. I think he's drawn most of the 13 issues. There may have been like a few issues he didn't, but for the most part he's still been drawing the title, which, good for him. I always appreciate a guy writing and drawing his own book. So in this one, it looks like we're finally coming to a head of a lot of stuff that's been going on, like the mystery. She's definitely getting deeper and deeper into this town and the history of the town, and like all these like mysterious people that are tapping into magic and in the town, and how they're connected, and like what's her place in all this. And she kind of got transported somewhere while like looking into somebody's because she ends up, she reads people's palms, and then she gets like transported into like places or sees moments from their past or future, these people that she ends up helping in this series. So like then she goes to this psychic shop that she sees, and she's like trying to like suss out whether like what's going on here in this place that she's been transported to, and like because it seems very odd how all this stuff's connecting. And then the woman that's reading her palm, she's like, "Oh, I know what you're up to. You better get out of here." And she senses that she like what she's up to right away. Like she tries to like pull a fast one on her. It doesn't go the way she wants. And then she ends up like helping this dude that she was looking for. Like, I think it was like a friend of hers brother that was like a drug addict. So she ends up tracking him down and trying to get him help because she's like, I've been there. I was a drug addict. Like, let me get you to like a rehab. And he's like, you don't understand. Like, you got to get out of here. Like, there's things that at play that you shouldn't be here. And so it looks like for whatever reason, this guy is part of this like secret society of these people in the town that are like, I don't know, magic wielders of some sort, or he's working for them or something like that. And then at the end of the issue, we jump back to this moment in time, which was previewed a few issues before this, where she saw this cop who's like the husband of one of her friends that she just reconnected with. She touched his hand and saw that in his future, he was going to get killed. And she never said anything to him because this is when she was first learning that she has these powers, and she didn't know what the hell was going on. She was freaked out by it. And now it seems like he might be putting himself in a scenario where his life is going to be at risk. So this maybe happened what she foresaw in that vision of hers. Right. So yeah, it's still really good. I like Jeff Lemire's stories. I like the mystery evolving here. And again, it's hard for me not to give it lower than a 4 out of 5 because I think it's just every issue makes me want to read the next one right away. I think he's a good storyteller. And again, your mileage may vary on whether or not you like Jeff Lemire's art. I, for one, do enjoy his art, so it's good for me. So 4 out of 5 for me. Geiger number 20, Chris.
Ooh, yeah, this was a great one here again. I think this follows up after Geiger sort of, I don't know, went supernova or something, and he kind of blew himself away, and he separated from Nate. And basically, he's just kind of hanging out by himself. His dog shows up with those carbon rods that help him control his power. And then we have the Northerner that kind of just drops in out of nowhere. And he's from the past. I'm still not sure how he ended up there. I thought it was Redcoat that was showing up in this comic, but
yeah.
But this Northerner, it makes me interested in what this Northerner is about because he seems to be from
Redcoat.
a past where the North lost the
South
Civil
one.
War.
Yeah, the South one in this past. Yeah,
and then, he's kind of trying to come to terms with what happened here, and there seemed to be some sort of like Overwatch group that just sends him stuff. And his plan is that he needs to go to Detroit, and he may be able to sort of find something out and go back to the past and perhaps prevent this from happening somehow. I'm not sure what that's all about, but it's still interesting stuff. And, you have some stuff with Nate, and I think it's that Dr. Molotov and Junkyard Joe, so they're all still in the mix. I enjoyed having them in the story, and they're kind of out on their own, trying to find their way back to Geiger. So it's the story's just chugging along, and nothing wrong with the story at all. It's good stuff.
I really need them to release that Redcoat oversized hardcover already. I think there's 2 trades of material out so far, but I got the Geiger hardcover and I got like the Junkyard Joe hardcover. So I've been getting all like the hardcovers for his stuff. I got Rook Exodus, but the Redcoat one's taken a while to come out. And I don't know if it's because the series has slowed down or they just haven't released it yet. I just need that hardcover because I want to read that Redcoat book. I think I've seen enough and heard enough of the series now where I'm like, I really missed the boat on reading that and continuing with that one and talking about it on the show. So I kind of just want to get caught up at this point so I can kind of jump back in and talk about it here because the fact that that's coming together and you got Junkyard Joe already in the story, I'm really interested to see like where this goes. And again, I think it's so smart that they waited a little bit and they actually developed these characters and these series before crossing over all the properties when it wouldn't have meant nothing to anybody. Right. So I think I really think that's smart of them. And I'm glad that they did it that way because there's so often that we find like, even with the Energon stuff, even though we haven't really gotten like a full kind of like crossover, there's all kinds of moments where you're seeing a Transformer in the G.I. Joe comic, and it kind of makes it less special in a way. Like this has kind of evolved to the point where like they didn't even really tease it. They just been telling their stories, and then all of a sudden these characters have showed up for whatever reason in the other titles. So I think that's really well. It's been really well done, I think, in that regard. So yeah, good stuff. I like this series a lot, and it's another good issue. What'd you give this?
Yeah, I give this 4 out of 5.
Yeah, same. Good book. What else we got here? Transformers. Speaking of Energon Universe, Transformers 28.
Yeah, it's Robert Kirkman here. Yeah. He's changing some lore here in this. A lot of this issue was about RC becoming Ultra Magnus, or becoming a Magnus, and supposedly these Magnus characters are the front line of defense for the Autobots, and Ultra Magnus, he wants to step down. And that's a fine story. But then the interesting stuff I thought was what's going on sort of with the Decepticons. They're kind of licking their wounds. Looks like Megatron's back, and who showed up? Skywarp or something showed up and kind of let them know what's going on, sort of with Soundwave. That Soundwave is still captured, and Thundercracker's captured. I don't know if he mentioned that Thundercracker's turned on him, but either way, Megatron's on his way back to try and rescue Soundwave. And during that sort of rescue, I think he runs into Trail Jumper at the end, and then basically just tears them apart. And then I don't know if he just sucks the Energon or he sucks the Allspark out of him.
Yeah.
So it sounds like when he's done that, now Trail Jumper is like dead. Like there's no coming back. And I think that's some new lore to the Autobots, because it seems like once they died in battle, it's okay. Well, you're off the table for a while, but once we get some Energon, we'll take you back to Teletron 1 or whatever, and just fix you up, and you're good as new. So now this sort of adds a little bit more, some new dynamics to the story, and then the stuff what's going on with the humans. I think who's that? Flag.
Yeah, Flag got screwed over. That Matt Tracker guy, he escaped his clutches essentially here in this issue, and then he's kind of like, they tried to like arrest him or whatever, and he kind of fucked off and was able to get away from General Flag there, right? Screwed over, so. And
then one great scene here was when RC gets to make the first roll call there, and you just hearing all the sounds of all the Autobots changing, like even though you can't hear it, but just the way it was drawn with all the kichu kiki and all that sort of stuff, you can hear it in your inner ear or whatever about everything that's going on. I thought that was a great scene too. So, this wasn't like the biggest issue, but still great things happening all the way through.
Yeah, it was a bit of a cool off issue, but then even while talking about it, there was still pivotal moments that happen in it. Because she becomes a new Ultra Magnus, and there's like a whole talk about like Ultra Magnus like remaining to be like
involved with that title.
Yeah, like he asked Ultra Magnus, the old Ultra Magnus, to basically be like, you're going to be a backup Ultra Magnus in case she needs help, because she needs guidance as the new Ultra Magnus. And he's like, I don't know. Like he's like, just think on it. Like, so yeah, there were some good moments in this one actually. Still, even though it did feel like a smaller issue than the first couple have been, obviously, because Kirkman kind of had to set up a lot of stuff for his run. Yeah. I will say though, Kirkman still remains one of the best writers to kind of start and end a comic. Like the way he ends the comic in this one is with him like being a vampire, just sucking out that guy's spark or whatever, Megatron there at the end. So again, just like he knows how to like leave you on like a crazy moment at the end in order to like get to what happens in the next issue. Yeah. So I think that's like a lost, like everyone just writes for the trade so much these days that I feel like they forget that this is what comics used to be like. Like this is like
issue to issue.
Yeah, this is what you need to still write, like I think, in order to drive to continue sales. Honestly,
yeah, like a final page like this. Come on, you want to buy the. You're waiting for the next issue, when you see that happen. Even though it's not going to lead to anything, but it's still fun to wait.
And I got to say, a couple issues in now. I'm digging the Nakayama art on it. I am. Sorry, not Nakayama. Sorry, the Dan. I'm looking at the Nakayama cover I got here, and I forgot. Yeah. So, but yes, it's been good. What'd you give this?
After talking, I might have to give it a 4.25.
Yeah, it was solid. I think I'm gonna give it another 4 out of 5, but I was gonna give it 3.75. But so I'm like, yeah, after talking about it, it had some good moments here. And then you got G.I. Joe 17, which is the last part 5 of 5 of the Dreadnought Wars. This wraps up here.
Yeah, I did enjoy this Dreadnought War with Duke and Cobra Commander teaming up, but the ending, I guess, what can you do? You gotta set things right again. Basically, Cobra, he's going freaking, or Cobra Commander. At least, I think I've mentioned this before, but you do see that why he's the commander. He is a badass. I think he takes Ripper here and pretty much beats the crap out of him, and he's about to freaking saw him with his own chainsaw. And you still have all the dreadnoughts out there, kind of ready to go to war. And he basically convinced them to switch sides. He goes, "Look, I got cash. You like the party? We got some Joes over there. I need you to kill them all." And he's ready to, and they're all ready to turn on him. And basically they go, "Okay, yeah, we're in." I thought they turned a little bit too easily, but what can you do? And and then they start attacking the Joes. They're outnumbering the Joes. And there's that scene with Duke and Cobra Commander sort of having almost like a little face-to-face there before the battle starts. And, Cobra Commander says, "Look, okay, you saved me. I'll let you off on this one. You guys just walk away and we'll call it even." Of course, Duke says, "No way. We're taking you down, come hell or high water." And then, freaking the battle ensues. And the Joes are, severely outnumbered. Looks like they're getting beaten down. And then Clutch sort of calls up his Jeep there. "Okay, man, I think we need to reveal some secrets here." And then that Jeep turns into the freaking robot and just freaking starts crushing the dreadnoughts, and they take off. And I guess Destro shows up to sort of rescue Cobra Commander, and he takes a few of the dreadnoughts with them. It was a great issue. And then, of course, there's a little prologue or an epilogue at the end.
Yeah,
where you see General Hawk.
That was crazy. I
had to look at it like 2-3 times to see who he was. First, I thought he was the Risk guy, but then I think, was it General Hawk that was fighting Destro or something? He kind of got he got a few licks in, and then he's back in his office, and then you see just sort of all the stuff on the table, all like the makeup or whatever Zatanna does to Zartanna, sorry, does to hold things together. And then you see him sitting at General Hawk's desk. And then, of course, they ask, how long has he been General Hawk? What happened to General Hawk?
Yes.
And what's going on here? So, that's...
Yeah.
That was a crazy ending.
Again, this is how you end a comic and end this this event within the book. Like, this was a crazy moment. Like, I don't know too much about Joe stuff, but I know this character, and the fact that he showed up here in this way, and that he's been a Hawk this whole time, and you don't know what the fuck's been going on with them. Very interesting stuff moving forward. I'm really happy about that. And like you said, the ending was fine, but I think that this ending was really cool.
Yeah.
And if anything, I think it just solidified how much of a badass, like you said, was Cobra Commander is during this little story that they told here at the Dreadnought War, because ultimately the outcome of it, it didn't move the story forward that much, but this was interesting at the end. So I'm interested to see where they go next. So
yeah. And then just the reveal that the Transformers have been sort of, or a Transformer has been with the Joes there. So, I think, whatever, you have that Duke scene where he's kind of just got his guns and he's talking to that Transformer. Okay, we got to talk. Yeah. He's not taking it to him too kindly where, Clutch is already kind of buddies with this guy already.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's good stuff.
I might have to give this a 4.25 too, after seeing all the other 4s. These one have some banger endings.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue giving out 4s here. I'll give this a 4 out of 5 as well. But again, I was thinking of 3.75. And I gotta put it up a notch. You're right; those are both really good endings to the issue. So they might be in contention for my favorite of the week. Now we'll see, because I forgot about those endings in these issues. There's some good stuff that happened here. All right, next up, another series concluding here. I think is there one more issue of this by the end of it? It's got crazy at the end. This has been Eat the Trees Where Nobody Sees Rite of Spring number 5. What do you think of this?
This is a crazy book here, and I don't know. It just gets crazier and crazier with this bear. Just, I don't know, just having that bear being also cutesy and it's the serial killer is, I don't know if that's the juxtaposition of two things that are beside each other. It's just hard to wrap your mind around. Like, I think the bear is taking the duck out into the fields and, where her brother might have been buried. And then, of course, they run into there's some construction crew.
Excavator or something like that.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, I can get around them." And right, even when she says that, or I got ways to deal with them, and you're like, "Oh, it's not going to be a good way to deal with them." But anyways, they're out there digging up, and she's almost like pointing to the cans. "Oh, here I found something. Look here," and then she's, "Oh, look, I've closure and all this stuff." And then I think she sends her back to the car to get some more supplies or a map or something. And then the duck sees the map there, and there's something that's scratched out or covered up, and she uses a pencil to kind of scratch over, and basically it reveals to her that this bear, I forget what her name is, but that the bear is the serial killer. And then she goes freaking ballistic. And then, of course, those excavators, they kind of show up, and she's like, "Oh, we're just, digging around here, and, hopefully you don't have to say anything to anybody." And then he's like, "Well, I think I might have to report this." And of course, there, as he's walking away, pow! I know she smashes him with paint cans or something.
Yeah.
And then the duck ends up grabbing the truck and, just plowing through everybody to get out of there to go tell the police what's happening. And then the bear is freaking in tow. And then there's the stuff that's going on in the city. Yeah, there's not much going on in the city. Sorry, that's when she gets back.
No, but then what are you talking about? This is when she gets into the huge shootout with the fucking cops. She shoots one of the cops in the face in this one.
Yeah, that's when she gets back to the city.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes on like nothing's happening. Like she gets back to her house. Like, and the ducks escaped.
Yeah.
And then she goes, "Oh, I'm just going to go back to work tomorrow. Like freaking nothing's happened." And, and some of the dialogue is like, "Well, things change." And you go, "I'll see how this plays out." And, the duck comes with the cops, and you think, "Okay, she's caught. There's no way she's out of this."
Right.
You're kind of grabbing the hands down, and even the cop, he goes, "Look, we're not going to have to put you in handcuffs. We just got to take you to the station and just talk about things." And then I don't know, she freaking hits that button. She's got like shotguns, up in there, and then she freaking torches not only her store. It looks like she torches the whole town while she's driving out of there. So you think she was like, caught in the jaws there. And it looks like anybody that's known what was going on is now dead.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
This was an insane, unexpected fucking moment in this book. I mean, I've always liked the book. This book has gotten a lot of acclaim. I've always thought it was fine. Maybe a little overhyped, but then again, this is a smaller book. So like all like the hype that it's been getting and people talking about it, I'm all for it. I've always thought it was solid, but like this issue, I was just like, wow, this just like went from like 0 to 100.
Yeah, it just ramped everything up.
I was like, oh my God, I didn't expect, not only did she have like some sort of like trap kill room set up in these hardware store, then she shoots the cop, like they all get shot, and then like, yeah, the jig is up here. Like you said, like where do they go from here? Because I was also like, I don't know how they're going to wrap this mini series up. And yeah, she ends up like killing all these people, and also like the whole thing about the mind games that she was playing on this person by like leading her around to make her think that there's some like they're gonna catch this killer. Meanwhile, she's the killer. Like,
you're almost proud of this person kind of putting the pieces together.
Yes. As she drives off, because she runs over that fucking guy as she drives off and gets away to go back to the town and say that it was her, and she beats her to it. And
even like, just the dialogue when she ran over that guy, goes, "Oh, I was hoping she'd veer into a tree."
Yeah.
But I'm kind of proud of her. She didn't even she didn't even step on the brakes. She just plowed right through that guy. Good for her.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, she like that moment where she says that. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like just like how twisted that she is. That she's actually proud of like what happened there, and like that she kind of pushed her to do this, to become a killer as well, in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it says to be concluded. I couldn't even remember if this was the last issue or not because it got so crazy. So there's one more issue to go in this. I just don't know how they can keep this going at this point. Like she's gonna have to go on the run now from this town. Like this whole thing is done. Yeah, I don't know where they go from here.
Yeah, well, who knows? We'll see.
Crazy issue.
But, yeah. 4.25 again, no problem.
Yeah, 4.25. This is I mean, we had a lot of crazy endings that we just talked about. This is the craziest. For me.
This is a crazy ending to a crazy story.
Yeah. Next up, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 14.
Nice. Yeah, I know I kind of slagged this book a little bit, but this is after that Jason Aaron run. If this is the new Turtles, it's not bad. I thought the art here was freaking fantastic. The story, it's picking up. It's coming along. This Ujami character and what's going on there. It seems to be perhaps not what it seems. I was under the impression that this Ujami was Splinter in some other form, but maybe not. I don't know, because there turns out to be some cat that's around there. But I do sort of like the position the Turtles are in, where they have to protect their enemies from an unjust revenge or something.
Yeah.
So, and that's good, and then, I do like how they kind of, when they had to separate, like, we just got together, we shouldn't be separating. And then April's there. It's okay. We got to find a way to almost trap this one. And then like the solution is, well, he's coming after the hand, and they try to go to the hand and tell him what's going on, with Bebop and Rocksteady there. They seem to be, as dumb and as strong as they always were. And it was good to see them almost have to work together to try and save the leader of the Foot Clan. Sorry, not the hand, the Foot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then at the end, when Shredder or when Splinter does show up back in the tunnel, like I thought he was going to stay out sort of on the outskirts for a while. I'm surprised he's back in there. And then what's going on with this cat and this other character? I don't know either, but there's a lot of good stuff happening here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. I as were you, I was kind of just sour on the fact that Jason Aaron left this book where he did, but I was like, okay, I'll give it a few issues though. This does seem like a good creative team coming on. I agree that Freddie Williams' art is great, and I think that the story is picking up some steam. Honestly, yeah, I kind of am interested to see where this goes. You got Bebop and Rocksteady in this issue, which I thought was a lot of fun in the mix there with Karai and the whole aspect of the Foot there and Foot Clan and the Splinter stuff is interesting too. I also don't know what the hell's going on with this the cat that's slinking around in the background, but I guess we'll find out. But the fact that Splinter is once again for now reunited with the Turtles by the end of this issue, I thought was interesting as well. And I guess we'll see where this all goes. But it's definitely keeping me around for more. I don't think it's bad. It's good. It's good. It's good so far.
Yeah, I think I might even be giving this a 4.
Yeah, I think it was better than last issue. Yeah, I will also give this 4. Good stuff. Yeah, no, I'm pleasantly surprised on this one because I was ready to hate this book and drop it because I was like, I really liked that last run, and I just don't feel like.
Yeah, I just thought that last issue there was too much of the cowabunga, the pizza stuff. This one, I don't think I had too much of that in there. I did like Mikey in there. Every once in a while, he'd have some comment about what's going on that just kind of brings almost a reality to it. It's like, this shouldn't be happening, and he just kind of have like a nice sort of a side comment just to kind of reveal like the craziness of what exactly is happening.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fun and smart.
Yeah. No, good stuff. I liked it as well. All right. Big, I don't know if this is an anniversary issue or it is. All right. Is it 800? Avengers 34. 800. Yeah. Avengers 34 here. I don't know. I just want to say something about this before we get into it. Have you ever read any of Bendis's Avengers?
No.
Okay. My one comment about this before you get into what you thought of it, I just want to say I have read all of Bendis's Avengers run and his time on the book. Him coming back for this short story, for me, reminded me why this book sucks, right? I thought the way that he banters between all the characters and all, and like has like, it was nice to have him back for this short story. I just want to put that out there. I hope you didn't dislike it, but I just want to put that out there. It just reminded me so much of why now I don't like the Avengers book and why his Avengers was fun with his little short story. Like I just like when he's at the top of his game with his dialogue between characters and having fun with them. It felt just like his run again. So I was really happy to get him kind of on that short story here because I don't even know if this main story is worth talking about. But if you wanted to say anything, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, for the main story, the only thing that I did enjoy, like while I was reading, go, look, what the heck is this? You know, when you read this, it makes you want to go back and read the rest of the Avengers. But I read most of this stuff, and none of whatever they said there was as interesting as the way they portrayed it here. You know, it's like, you know, they talk about the Avengers in, you know, with Orcus. I don't remember them having a big role in there. You know, or the vampire stuff. I thought that was all fucking baloney with the Avengers. You know, the Twilight Court, the Ashen Combine, like, oh, we took it there, we beat them all up. You know, when you read it here, it's like, oh, man, I should look back at these stories. I thought they sound great. And they were all garbage. And, you know, and then I'm reading this too. I know it's your 800 issue. You go, what the heck are you talking about all this for? And basically, you know, they're you know, talking to Kang, and Kang's like, what are you guys talking? What are you, he's even telling you, enough with the freaking talking. What are you trying to do? And then it turns out that they were talking not to Kang, but to whatever the freaking, that doohickey was, the stolen moment, or I don't know what it was. And basically that, the MacGuffin, I think that's what you call them. But that MacGuffin was made for heroes, and they were trying to reason, I don't know, with the orb to show that Kang is not a hero, and they are, and they deserve the power of whatever it has. And of course, this orb agrees with them, and they become all powerful. I don't even know what they end up doing to Kang. But then we get, of course, this story here where Captain America or something, he's spying on some Hydra meeting, and then he has to use the old school Avengers card to contact all the Avengers. And the greatest thing about this is that when all these Avengers come in, even when it's like, who's the first one that shows up?
Iron Man.
It's the original Iron Man. You know, yes. He's not freaking crazy. The Thor that shows up is the original Thor. The Hulk that shows up, it's not like the infernal Hulk showed up with the freaking demon energy inside him. No, regular Hulk shows up. Everybody shows up the way they should be and the way they were, the way that everybody liked them, loved them. And, you know, and then even as more people show up, you know, I think they just freaking smashed whatever was going on there. And then by the end, everybody just showing up. Like, this was a great Avengers legacy story, you know. And I don't know what they have planned for Bendis, but I hope they put him on something good if he's here to stay.
I really hope he comes back to this title because, like you said, like it was like he never left here. I felt with this story, it was a fun story. He gave him a chance to kind of write dialogue for all these characters again, and it was like his version of his Avengers. It seemed like and like you said, it was all like the older versions. It wasn't like the new status quo for these guys. And in typical Bendis Avengers run, everybody is an Avenger, seems like, at the end. Yeah. That's the one thing I feel like people kind of had some issues with when he was writing the book, is that throughout his time on the title, he wrote the Avengers for a long time in the 2000s. Everyone kind of basically became an Avenger, so like it maybe became less special, like with the roll call and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, there were so many cool characters that he was able to kind of tap into and use in his stories as a result of that I didn't mind it all so much, but I also understand that part of it as well. But coming back for this small little story, though, while reading it, I'm just like, the rest of this issue sucked. I can't even give that high of a rating. If I'm just rating this story on itself, it was great, and I was happy to have him back for this. Yep. And I hope he sticks around and does something with Marvel again, because he left on bad terms, I feel like, last time he left. And you know, if this is him if this is an olive branch for him to come back and write the Avengers, I'm all here for it, because I'm tired of this run and I know it's ending soon. So we'll see what happens. What'd you give this?
I'll give it 3.75. You know, for an Avengers book, I think that's the highest rating we've given out there.
Yeah, for that story alone, I'd give it like a 4.25.
Oh yeah, the Bender story was great, you know.
Yeah, but
But that's just a one shot, and it's not going to lead to anything.
yeah,
Hopefully, or maybe it does. If it does, that'd be super crazy.
yeah, Bagley on art on that one. So yeah, it was fun. I give it also a 3.75. I had to give it lower based on like the Jed McKay stuff.
Well, yeah, we have to base it on that Avengers run, but
yeah.
Oof.
I'm just so excited to talk about this here today. That's why I'm like, oh, before you say anything, Bendis is back. Bendis is back. Anyways, the Ultimates number 20 for our last book here.
This stuff with the Vision and how he kind of infiltrated everything and what sort of happened. Yeah, I thought this was a good issue. You know, I think once Ultimates is up and running, it's a good comic. But I think they had maybe 12 issues of this, and they had to spread it out to 24.
Yeah.
You know, with the Vision here, it looks like Tony Stark sent, who is it, the Human Torch, which was a synthetic robot or something. He sent him back into the past with the Immortus engine, and the new one met up with the old one, and I guess he had a plan or something and what was going on. And basically, he was just almost like a sleeper agent. He was just hiding in the background this whole time until it was time, until the Maker fight was out. And I like the way he was kind of just organizing the field, like once that ultimate net or the alt net went down, he went there to reestablish communication. Once communication was reestablished, all the chances of all the different conflicts sort of increased. And then with this Detroit city, what was going on there, he's taking a whole bunch of people and almost in secret building stuff in the basement. And I kind of like the way they said that this was a mecca of technology, and then it went to shit. Yeah. But what might have really happened is all those workers, all the brain power, they all went underground to build, to build this kaiju at the end to take on, I guess it's the Hand here, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was a crazy scene when, basically this thing freaking, they're taking a page out of the Image or the Energon universe. They built a freaking transformer out of the city, and he's just knocking all those helicarriers out of the sky, and when you saw kind of, that whatever Nick Fury's thought about, okay, we're just going to have to destroy Detroit. And, he sends like, 1,000 helicarriers down there. Okay, what the hell can the city do? But when they freaking had that big robot up there just freaking smashing him out of the sky. And then the confrontation basically between Vision and Nick Fury, I thought that was interesting too, when Vision was able to kind of just show this Nick Fury that had still some sort of conscience to him about everything that he's done and that he's forgot he's done, because it seems like every time he's done something or every time he's lost, they just kind of wipe him and they just bring him back, and he was able to remember everything that he's done and kind of all the bad things he's done, and he ends up kind of shooting himself in the head. And all the other Nick Furies, I guess that knowledge spread to them and they all pretty much start glitching out. So I thought that was interesting stuff all around.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to what you said there. I thought this was a great issue. It kind of reminded me once again of like where this book had started out, and the times that we had enjoyed this book. And I actually have a friend who's recently that was not reading this, that actually jumped into this and has been catching up because he kind of wanted to read this and catch up for the ending of it with all this Ultimate End stuff coming up. And he's around the same point that I was warning him about and told him about, where he absolutely agreed. He's like, yeah, there becomes a certain point where he's clearly writing for the trade, and he basically just pumps the brakes and stalling out the story there. And I was like, exactly, that's exactly what happened. It was never more obvious than it was for us talking about it as it came out on this show month to month. And it's just a shame because I feel like he has a good story here. He clearly has an idea for the ending of the story. And I hope that it keeps up the momentum that we're at right now, because I think this was a great book. It kind of went off the rails in the middle of the series.
Yeah, I think like the only reason I was really buying these books is I knew the end would be good, but I just couldn't I couldn't stand the middle and to drop it, and I haven't jumped back in, unfortunately.
I think it's once they kind of put a timestamp on we're ending these books, and they announced it so early. I think it was a big mistake, honestly. Like they announced it like a year out or whatever it seems like.
Yeah.
I can't remember when, but it was way too early. And then it was like, now we all know kind of like where we're kind of going towards. And the whole time, like, the whole idea of them having 2 years worth of stories because we were counting down to this moment just became like less interesting as a result, right? Yeah. So anyways,
they could have never said that this is over. Because
yeah,
like good or bad, it doesn't matter now because it's over either way.
right.
If it was bad and it was over, you'd be going, "Oh fuck, great! I'm glad it's over." If it's great, it's like, "Oh, why would you end this?" Especially like if this ending is as good as that they hope it to be.
Right.
But,
right. All right. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 4. It's good comic reading this week. Nothing crazy, but a lot of good comics.
I was about to say, very few misses here. Like it was a really good week of comics.
Unfortunately, none of these are my favorite comics. So, I'm happy to read these ones, but if I have to kind of cut my list down to like 3 or 4 comics, I don't know if not too many of these would make it.
No. I agree.
But they should, because they're all better than the comics that are my favorites.
Yeah, good week this week. So Ultimates 20, I also gave it a 4 out of 5. So there you go. All right, Chris, what are you reading next week of comics for January 21st?
Okay, let's see what we got here. So on a Marvel for January 21st, Amazing Spider-Man. I'll give X-Men 24 a read. I think I got Captain America on the pull list. Fantastic Four number 7. Spider-Man Wolverine 9. I'll try and read Mortal Thor. Definitely reading Daredevil, Punisher, The Devil's Trigger. Rogue One.
It's a bigger week. It's a bigger week.
New Avengers, I've been enjoying that. Aliens versus Captain America, enjoyed that. See what's going on in Planet She-Hulk. Have to see what Psylocke's up to. Ninja number 1.
Yeah.
Inglorious X-Force. Holy smokes. I'm glad I'm not buying all these, but I did get a few of them.
Yeah.
I want to see what's going on with the Inglorious X-Force. And that's it for Marvel. Well, let's see what's... And Image. Exquisite Corpses number 9.
Did you hear the news? Apparently it's
going
to be a film, apparently. Yeah. Really cool.
That's not too bad. It makes sense. I think this worked well more as like a series, just because there might be a lot to fit into a 2-hour movie. It depends how they break it up.
Yeah, I agree.
But, but it looks like for Image, it's not much. Exquisite Corpses, and that's it. And DC, I'll probably read Batman, Superman, World's Finest, Wonder Woman 29. Looking forward to that. I'll be reading this DC KO Green Lantern Galactic Slam. And I think that's it for that.
Bigger week this next week. The last couple of weeks actually have been weirdly later than usual. So I guess here we're paying the price here on this next week. Things I'm picking up. Absolute Batman 16. There's also a reprint of the Absolute Batman Annual with a different Daniel Warren Johnson cover that I've ordered. Yeah, an alternate cover. I rarely ever pick up reprints, but it was so popular that they got him to do another cover for the book. So I was like, yeah, I'll grab that. Why not? Exquisite Corpses, Amazing Spider-Man, Captain America. What else we got here? I think that's it for things I'm actually... No, Daredevil, Punisher, Devil's Trigger, Psylocke Ninja. I think I got a couple covers for that one. Spider-Man and Wolverine. And that's all I'm actually picking up. But things I'll be reading digitally, though, for next week. There's a bunch of those as well. Including Powers 25, Absolute Flash, Batman, Superman, World's Finest, Wonder Woman, Aliens versus Captain America. That's been great. I'll probably read X-Men as well. FF7. I'll probably read Hulk Smash Everything number 2. I really like the first issue. I might check out this Inglorious X-Force, New Avengers 8, Planet She-Hulk, Thor 6. and possibly Rogue One. Yeah, it's a big week. So yeah, there you go, guys. You got a big week to look forward to of new releases and other things that we're going to be talking about next week on the show. So make sure to check us out then. All right,
Chris. There's a comic we missed though before.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Punisher #4, the Red Band from a couple of weeks ago. I haven't got a chance to read that yet.
I did. Remember last week I showed off the Carrie Andrews cover because.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it though, did we?
No, we never talked about it because it came out during those holiday weeks, and I didn't have my issue, and you didn't read it yet, so like we never ended up talking about it, right? Because I didn't go pick up my stuff. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought that was a great issue. You know, was he in the back of that ambulance, and he's trying to get those people to take out whatever he's got stuck in the back of his head, and like no anesthetic, no nothing. Yeah. You know, he just freaking lays out there. They take him out. All right, and I think he threatens to take him out too. He's got a bomb.
Yeah.
In the ambulance, and he only knows how to defuse it. He goes, "You don't take this out of my head. I'm not going to defuse it." They're like, "Oh, what can we do?" Okay, they freaking jam in there, and he goes, "This ain't going to be fun, buddy."
Yeah.
And then he passed out when he's doing it, and then they're trying to wake him up. It's like, "Hey man, wake up!" There's only like a minute left, or like 30 seconds. He's like, "Arr." She's like, "Whoa, we helped you." Went on to go crazy on him, and then he of course he diffuses it with the last 2 seconds. He walks out, and then what those ambulance guys, hey, that was a fake bomb, right? And then you see a mouse beside the bomb, so I guess the mouse set something off, and the freaking the ambulance explodes.
Yeah.
And I guess Microchip, he's back in the picture. He figures out that Frank is not under the influence anymore, and he just sends him a whole bunch of information. Yeah. So I think it's setting up a banger of a next issue.
I know it's the next issue is the last issue of the mini series, but then this is going to be leading into the ongoing series that Benjamin Percy's writing. I actually think like this is a good fit. Like this has been a good mini series. Like I hope he continues on, but yeah, it looks like it's leading to some really interesting things. I think like the tone is what I kind of want from a Punisher comic.
Let's squawk the Punisher.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's good. Yeah, good. I'm glad you mentioned it because we didn't get a chance to talk about it. But yeah, one more issue to go. We'll definitely talk about that when it comes out. All right, Chris, what's your favorite book of the week?
Oops, this was a tough week because everything was good or everything was great. But I don't know if there's anything like spectacular. When I think about it, I might have to give it. I got to give it to Beneath the Trees. I was going to give it to Transformers, where he's eating that, but when I was reading that Beneath the Trees, that was taking me on a ride the whole time. Even though you knew bad stuff was going to happen, like it's just like the classic horror movie, where you think they got them, where you think they're safe, and then freaking the tables just get turned. Even though do it every time, I think it's the greatest trope out there. Just because it's not used so often in comics.
I absolutely agree with you. That's also my pick this week. Yeah, so. It's, I think, the first time we've ever picked that as our favorite on the show, despite, like, I guess some of the acclaim that it's been getting. But I just felt like this was one of the craziest issues of the series thus far. It definitely is. And I think they just stepped it up like 10 notches with the result of what happened at the end of this issue. So, and I don't know where you go from here, honestly. Like, I don't know if they have long-term plans past this second mini-series for this series, because this was pretty nuts. So, yeah, I got to give it to that. Yeah, again, it was a really great week of comics, and even I could argue other things. I think it definitely wasn't like a standout amongst everything that was good, but if I had to go by crazy ending wise, it was that one this week, and I think it just edges out. I feel like some of the other books as a result. So. Yeah, good stuff. That was it was really good. So I actually think that makes 2 for 2, Chris. You and me, I think, have the same picks.
I know. Well, so far in January.
There you go, guys. So make sure to tune in for next week to see what happens there. It's a way bigger week, so maybe we won't be on the same pick for that one. But
smell a lot of 3.5s next week.
Yeah, I got this for the cover. We'll be going back to that next week. But yeah, that being said, thank you everyone. Make sure to tune in and subscribe and like the videos. Hit us up in the comments and or tell a friend who's in the comics. Share the comic shop talk love out there, guys. Tell a friend. Tell your mom.
All day.
All right, Chris. Thank you as always, and we'll see you guys next time. Later, everyone.